People will criticize you for going 6 rounds with Jake Paul. How do you feel about that?
I deserve it.
Boom. Reality hit hard. Gervonta Davis couldn't hold back laughter watching Jake Paul get knocked out by Anthony Joshua, and his reaction said everything boxing fans already knew. Tank mocked the wild, looping punches, the stiff feet, and the awkward movement that collapses under real pressure. Against an elite heavyweight like AJ, gimmicks vanish fast. Davis's laughter wasn't disrespect, it was disbelief at the gap in class. Power, timing, defense, instincts, worlds apart. Stepping into the ring with Joshua was always dangerous, and that knockout brutally exposed why experience, technique, and championship pedigree still rule boxing at this level. The boxing world is buzzing non-stop after the Anthony Joshua vs. Jake Paul showdown, and Ryan Garcia didn't hold back with his reaction on X. Sharing his sharp opinion, Garcia confidently stated, "I think Gervonta would have done him worse," pointing directly to the massive gap in skill and power between Davis and Paul. It's clear that while Jake stepped into the ring seeking fame and cash, facing a seasoned and explosive talent like Gervonta would have been a completely different story. The fight didn't just ignite discussions inside the ring. The drama has spilled far beyond it. Offering controversies are heating up, with analyst Fanon recently highlighting a shocking development: the real possibility of a defamation lawsuit against Jake Paul. The legal issue stems from Paul allegedly accusing Gervonta Davis of mistreating a girl, a claim Fanon insists is completely false. According to him, these accusations are baseless, yet the tension between the two fighters is now escalating into a potential courtroom battle. Fans and insiders alike are watching closely as this story unfolds, knowing that the fallout from Paul's actions might turn into a high-stakes legal showdown, further intensifying the drama around this already explosive boxing narrative.
And real possibility of Gervante Davis filing a lawsuit against Jake Paul for defamation. A very, very real and possible thing. Jake Paul could be responsible for defamation against Gervonta Davis. I absolutely believe that to be the case. That's because Jake Paul said that he saw a videotape where Gervonta Davis punched a girl in her face. There's no testimony by anybody at all that Gervonta Davis did that. The girl herself is not accusing him of that. The videotape that somebody in the media said that they saw, a journalist said that they were given a copy to, or they were shown a copy of, didn't say it showed anything about Gervonta Davis punching the girl or hitting the girl. It was just that the person categorized it as it's looking as if Gervonta was forcing her to leave the club. So basically, she was walking.
The boxing world erupted with reactions after Jake Paul's showdown against Anthony Joshua, mixing shock, respect, and humor. Chris Eubank Jr. weighed in on X, giving Paul credit where it's due. Regardless of the outcome, Jake Paul got into the ring with an Olympic gold medalist and former heavyweight world champion and tried his best until the very end. You have to give that man his respect now. He's done what most would never, and he didn't give up. Well done, Jake. Eubank's words reminded fans that stepping into the ring with a fighter of Joshua's caliber is no small feat. Meanwhile, online reactions added a lighter tone, with KSI chiming in humorously on X. Captioning a clip, he showed himself laughing uncontrollably at Jake's knockout loss, perfectly capturing the mix of amusement and disbelief that swept through social media. Fans across platforms couldn't get enough, sharing memes, clips, and commentary, turning the fight into one of the most talked-about boxing events in recent memory. Paul's resilience earned respect, but the knockout also sparked endless online reactions.
Don't mind me. Just smoking on that Jake. Honestly, Jake Paul, trash. Coming here, trash.
Shock and disbelief rippled through the boxing world as Chris Mannix reacted simply, "This is horrifying." Despite the knockout loss, Jake Paul earned respect from some of boxing's legends. Antonio Tarver, former world champion, weighed in on YouTube, praising Paul's performance against Anthony Joshua. Tarver pointed out that Paul survived all 6 grueling rounds and didn't make it an easy night for the heavyweight star. Many fighters would have been knocked out much earlier, but Paul's resilience and determination stood out. Tarver emphasized that facing an Olympic gold medalist and former heavyweight champion is no small task, and surviving it deserves recognition. He also highlighted that this performance shows Paul approached the fight with serious preparation, commitment, and focus. Fans and analysts alike have noted that praise from a seasoned champion like Tarver adds credibility to Paul's efforts. Even in defeat, the acknowledgement from respected figures reinforces the idea that Paul's courage, discipline, and heart inside the ring cannot be dismissed, proving that he is more than just a social media fighter chasing headlines.
Antonio Tarver after another big fight. Jake Paul stopped by Anthony Joshua tonight. What did you make of it?
I expected it. AJ looked like he was putting that pressure on, but credit to Jake Paul. He didn't make it easy, bro. He wasn't no sitting duck. You know, he got on his footwork, used his ring, was moving a lot, and he landed some shots. So hats off to Jake Paul, but he was in there surviving, and he didn't make it easy for AJ. But AJ landed that right hand. I knew it was over after that.
What? Why did it take so long, do you think?
Oh, Jake Paul wasn't a sitting duck. You know, he was putting his mind to the game, but just didn't have enough in his bag. He just, like I said, he got to get those lessons and evolve more as a fighter. You know,
Want to see him continue?
Yeah, he's going to continue, of course. Just got to pick him right, bro, and give yourself a chance. You know what I mean? I think he was just biting off a little bit more than he can chew tonight. You know, his aspirations was a little bit far out.
AJ could have got it done a bit quicker.
I mean, I think he was in there to do it, but like I say, Jake didn't make it easy, bro. It's hard to hit somebody when they moving, especially the way he was moving lateral, just, you know, circling. So he had to catch up with him. He hit him with a couple body shots.
Veteran boxing voice Labella, an International Boxing Hall of Fame inductee, delivered a scathing take on X, sparing no punches in his blunt assessment. He declared, "BT, the guy who should feel ashamed right now is Anthony Joshua. That was his legacy. Paul is a great businessman. AJ doesn't give two shits about boxing." Labella argued that Joshua's performance damaged his own standing while highlighting Paul's savvy and ability to capitalize on the moment, questioning AJ's true commitment to the sport. The fight's aftermath also drew attention from medical professionals, adding a sobering layer to the discussion. Brian Sutterer from Maryland weighed in regarding Jake Paul's fractured jaw, explaining the potential consequences of such an injury, including long-term pain, difficulty eating, and complications if not treated properly. Dr. Sutterer emphasized that fractures of this nature demand careful attention to ensure full recovery, warning that repeated injuries could impact Paul's ability to compete at a high level in the future. His expert perspective reminded fans that boxing is not just about spectacle. Serious health risks are always involved, and each injury carries lasting implications for a fighter's career and well-being.
I'll admit I watched the fight pretty boring in the first half before AJ finally turned it on and we got the outcome that we all expected. After the fight, though, Jake told Ariel Helwani that he was worried that he had broke his jaw. He said multiple times he was concerned that he had a fractured jaw. And certainly looking at this knockout punch that Anthony Joshua delivers, it is absolutely a possibility that Jake does in fact have a jaw fracture. I'd honestly be more concerned about a concussion. In fact, with most jaw fractures, the more important thing initially is to look for other injuries to the head, to the neck, to the airway. The jaw fracture potentially being there or not is going to be lower on the list often than there's damage to the airway, damage to the head. And so very possible to have a concussion or some residual symptoms from this. Jake Paul's head is relatively still here. We see AJ comes in with that right, and that sudden, quick, violent rotation of the head is going to transmit a lot of rotational force, not only through the brain, but also through the brainstem, absolutely leading to possibility of a concussion. Thankfully, it didn't completely knock him out, but could absolutely result in some delayed symptoms. But you can see where the punch comes in, landing square on that left side of Paul's face. Jake's reaction was pretty telling too. Right away after it, we could see him going down on the canvas here and being very shocked. It doesn't look like there's any obvious deformity to the jaw. We won't necessarily always see a deformity to the jaw, but you could tell he clearly had realized that something serious had happened there and feeling the full power. And finally, on this last view, we can see a little bit better the exact location where the punch comes in. We'll talk about our jaw anatomy, the different areas of the bones, but your temporomandibular joint, where your jaw articulates.
The reactions kept pouring in long after the final bell, with Nakisa Bidarian capturing the emotional roller coaster perfectly. She admitted feeling heartbroken yet proud, emphasizing that Jake Paul gave his all against one of boxing's most elite heavyweights. Paul's determination and bravery resonated with fans everywhere, proving that effort and courage matter just as much as victory. Anthony Joshua himself acknowledged the fight's intensity, noting that Paul did his best under extreme pressure, surviving 6 rounds and making the bout far from easy. Analysts like Plemens and Ariel Helwani highlighted areas for improvement for Joshua, from footwork to timing, while praising Paul's resilience and moral victory. Boxing strategist Henry pointed out Paul's unusual tactics, repeatedly grabbing and sliding down AJ's body to survive, showing a clever if unconventional approach. Meanwhile, Paulie Malignaggi praised Paul's courage, calling the fight a joke in humor but recognizing the sheer guts it took to step into the ring. Despite the knockout, Paul earned respect for enduring injury, using the enormous ring to his advantage, and doing everything possible to survive. This fight reminded the world that heart, strategy, and survival instincts define a fighter. If you loved this breakdown, smash that like, hit subscribe, and share this video with every boxing fan you know. Don't miss out on the next explosive fight analysis.